Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on double falsehood, still at sea, but it was a little loud outside today, so I'm inside in my lovely cabin. But that's beside the point. Today we get to hear from Julio in Act 3, Scene 2. Now remember, Julio is in love with Leonora, who is supposed to be marrying Enriquez, and that's supposed to be happening today. So he arrived in disguise, but she saw right through the disguise, and they were like, oh, I love you, we should be together. And Julio threatened to kill Enriquez, and she's like, no, I have a plan. Hide behind that curtain instead, and no matter what you hear, don't come out. She threatened to injure herself. She's got a dagger if he came out, and he's like, all right, I'll hide behind the curtain. At which point Enriquez and Don Bernard and the whole wedding train come in, and they're like, let's go do this whole wedding thing. And she's like, I don't love you, and why would you want to be with somebody that doesn't want to be with you? And they're like, never mind, let's just move on with this. Let's keep going. Don Bernard gives his blessing to Enriquez and says, let's just go ahead and get this whole wedding thing over with. She's being crazy. At which point Julio comes out from behind the heiress and is like, I have dibs. I have the older claim on her. And Enriquez is like, wait a second, you were supposed to be in court on my business and you weren't supposed to come back until you're done. Like, what are you doing here against my orders? And Julio says, ungenerous lord, the circumstance of things should stop the tongue of question. You have wronged me so basely, in so dear a point as stains the cheek of honor with a blush, cancels the bonds of service, bids allegiance throw to the wind all high respect of birth, title, and eminence, and in their stead fills up the panting heart with just defiance. If you have sense of shame or justice, Lord, forego this bad intent, or with your sword answer me like a man, and I shall thank you. Julio, once dead, Leonora may be thine, but living, she's a prize too rich to part with. So what Julio is saying is this was rather an urgent matter. I had to come back for it because you've done me this horrible, hideous wrong by doing this behind my back. He's like, if you really insist that this has to happen, fight me, like duel me, and we can settle it like grown men, and then if I'm dead, she can be yours, and that'll be all fine. And Enriquez is like, I don't even have time for you. Like we're moving on. I'm gonna go get married now. We'll sort this whole thing out later. And Julio's like, and goes to start fighting. They go like they're gonna start fighting, but then Enriquez has the servants take Julio out, at which point Leonora faints, and a piece of paper falls off of her person as she faints. And they're like, oh my God, she's dead. She's not actually dead. She's just passed out. But they're like, what is this piece of paper? And they look at it, and it's a suicide note that she had planned to leave. And they're like, what's this? She mentions a dagger. What's about a dagger? And they find the dagger that she has on her. And they're like, oh my goodness, like she's being crazy. We need to get all this sort of settled and all that too. And they take her back to her room to like get settled and calm down and revived. And Enrique and Don Bernardo are like, once she's had a chance to like calm down and we've gotten Julio out of here, then everything will be back to normal and we'll be able to go ahead with this whole wedding thing. And that's the end of Act 3, Scene 2. So even though we've had the threat of a suicide, the threat of a murder, a potential duel, they're still insisting that she needs to marry Enriquez. So come on back tomorrow for more and we'll start to figure out whether or not she actually does. What do you think? Where are you placing your bets? Anyway, let me know in the comments and I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah.